discussing Uganda-South Africa Trade, Tourism and Investment Summit. In a few minutes, I'll be introducing my guest who will be telling us about that. But allow me to give you a preamble on the discussion. The Private Sector Foundation Uganda, in partnership with the Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Cooperatives, Privatization and Investment, is organizing the Uganda-South Africa Trade, Tourism and Investment Summit that is due on February the 27th to the 1st of March in Pretoria, South Africa. The business summit will be attended by the two heads of states, South Africa and Uganda, that is Cyril Ramaphosa and Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, respectively. It will attract trade, tourism ministers, heads of government departments and agencies, policymakers, as well as members of the private sector. It will also provide a platform for the private sector, companies and businesses to create new markets and find ways to facilitate business on top of identifying existing and merging businesses to investment opportunities in the two countries. In the studio right now is the chairperson of the organizing committee of this very great event, Philip Kakuru. A very warm welcome to the program, Mr. Kakuru.
Welcome. Thank you, sir. Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Let's go straight into...
Correct, I'm not the chairman of the organizing committee.
You're not the chairperson of the organizing committee?
I'm the chairperson of the Uganda-South Africa Business Forum. Chairperson
of the Uganda-South Africa Business Forum.
That's correct.
Okay.
Which is part of the partners that are putting up together the summit.
Many thanks. The correction, much appreciated. Tell us, let's go rather straight into the business of this particular discussion. What is this summit about?
What is the summit about? We should start by saying, why the summit? As you're aware, all countries since March 2020, we went into a very unprecedented and uncharted waters where economies were shattered, disrupted the processes of doing business, both grounded airlines, grounded activities, closure of businesses, economic malaise, and many people lost jobs in the process, and the economic activities were disrupted. These took place in all over the world. In South Africa they were affected, in Uganda they were affected. But we say our people in Uganda could have lost so many jobs, 300,000 jobs, many who could not go to work. In South Africa the same applies. But when you fall and you're a big person and the other one falls, the kind of fall cannot be the same. We look at two countries, South Africa $420 billion GDP vis-a-vis the $40 billion GDP, 12 times bigger than Uganda. And we are saying, what can we do to tap into this? South Africa is the largest country with direct foreign investment in Uganda, mentioned from Standard Bank, ABSA, MTN, everybody. If you ask South Africa,
that's right,
they tell you South African companies, and Ugandan can tell. Now we say, why can't we go there
and also be part of this?
Yeah. What are we aiming to achieve? There are three things: to create partnerships, to do business to business engagements, business to government for those who offer services, and expand our markets.
That's right.
For example, if you're Ugandan, we are lucky we have Uganda Airlines. We're able to sell goods. With Uganda Airlines, we have a big Airbus, it goes empty. What can we sell at South African shelves? We have coffee, we have tea, we sell the Ankole cattle. Why can't we sell the Ankole beef? The organic milk, the bananas. So there are so many things that Uganda can sell South Africa, and we try to bridge that gap. And on the summit, our target is to sign deals worth $50 million. $50 million between the 27th and the 1st of March.
All right. Normally, when many Ugandans hear about South Africa and the opportunities therein, it's a mixed bag, where, for example, at the height of xenophobic attacks, people are told that, well, businesses owned by foreigners in South Africa are threatened and could inform the kind of low levels of enthusiasm when it comes to going to South Africa. I don't know whether these disparities are being addressed when you are selling the opportunities for Ugandans in South Africa.
Now, we understand the xenophobic and the kind of environment we are talking about here and the perception people have of destination South Africa. These are some of the issues that government agencies are going to deal with. Not limited to that, actually, because what is the purpose of this whole engagement and relationship? To improve economic, bilateral, and political ties. The people to people, government to government, and business to business. So it means that there are a number of agreements that will be signed between the two heads of states, including visa issues, including dealing with our people. And that's why, as a business person of Ugandan origin based in South Africa, we come in to give an input on what could be some of the challenges that we need our two governments to talk about.
Okay. Yes. Not to preempt what the heads of state will or could agree on, especially when it comes to accessing each other's spaces. The issue of visas is one that is very, very contentious. President William Ruto, in the things that he embarked on very quickly after coming into office, was to ensure that is, clarified. Access to South Africa by Kenyans and the whole issuance of a visa. What do you think ought to be the rationale away from what is currently the case?
Like I said, I don't want to preempt what is going to be part of the discussion. But though it is one of the issues
you can make a plea
that we are raising, that Ugandans need to get access just like the Kenyans. But there will be specific questions they ask. What do you bring on the table? What kind of category of people come to their countries? You see, immigration is a very tricky issue. Everybody wants to safeguard, especially we are from COVID. Everybody wants to safeguard the few jobs that you have to your nationals. So the kind of people you're looking for are skilled professionals. You're looking for people who are coming to invest, like businesses, which will partner and create agreements. It means definitely those have a preference. But an ordinary guy, probably that's why they will have to go through measures that we're talking about, a criteria of a kind. So I might not say much, but this is one of the demands, as a community we are putting there to say, we want to do business in South Africa. South Africans want to do business in Uganda. How can the two governments create an enabling environment to ease the visa restrictions? And that enables the people-to-people relations and travel.
Okay, there are so many gray areas when it comes to understanding exactly what opportunities are. Many times when people who have traveled extensively out of the country tell Ugandans that we must be able to take things out there. You talk about coffee, you talk about milk. This is the usual talk, the lip service. Can we be very specific? What in South Africa can Ugandans capitalize on, away from throwing a general picture to them and then perhaps requiring them to be very astute business persons in identifying those opportunities themselves?
Now, we've identified about 5 key things. Tourism.
Okay.
The beauty, nobody tells a story about Uganda. The South Africans have roamed the whole SADC, from Namibia to the Victoria Falls to the Cape Mountain and everywhere. But somebody doesn't see, we want to sell the Uganda baboons, the gorillas, the Machon Falls. You see a game reserve next to the Nile. Nobody tells you about, when you look at the Rwenzori. Some people might think that this is Switzerland, actually. But who has told the story?
Who is telling that story?
We need to improve our tourism and tell them that here we are. We need to talk about agriprocessing. We see South Africa exporting to Europe because they are equal of that standard. Are we saying the Ugandan farmer can produce these goods, the pineapples, the apples, the coffees, to look? I'll give you a story of the coffee. It's tricky. Coffee is bought in Uganda, Arabica coffee from Mount Elgon to from Bugisu area. It is taken to Switzerland. From Switzerland, refined and sold there, and returned to Africa's grade B, and grade A is consumed in what? In Europe. Why can't we do this between our two countries? We talk about mining. South Africa is a solid country in mining for the last 100 years, like the ambassador said at the press conference. You have artisanal miners from Mubende, Busia, Buweju, and Kalamoja. If these guys come with technology, how much impact can they make in this? In oil and gas, they have the oldest oil and gas company, petrochemicals.
On Africa continent.
So why can't we tap into this expertise and say, how can Ugandans position themselves in oil and gas? Ugandans have not tapped into this. We talk about companies like Imperial Logistics, the largest logistics company. We are saying, who can sit down with Imperial Logistics guy? Who can sit down with a guy in retail? For example, if ShopRite moved out of here and other agencies, they're good stores. Can we say, can we have this online on a Ugandan platform and Ugandan can access these South African goods? ICT, we know they are very good and advanced in technology. How can we partner with a Ugandan firm in services to do some bit of ICT, cyber security, financial services? We have a lot of bankable projects in Uganda. They got the money. There are big venture capital agencies there.
Sure.
Tell us, show us your bankable projects in Uganda. Do you want a chemical plant? Do you want a pharmaceutical company? We have the experience. We have companies like Aspen in South Africa, Adco Kingram, big pharma we can talk about.
Okay. So who is eligible, or how can somebody who is watching you right now and is interested in being part of the summit on the 27th of February to the 1st of March get on board?
There is our partners in Uganda, Private Sector Foundation, has a link of interested individuals and persons or businesses to register. They qualify to see who we have a secretariat running, which involves sectors from Export Promotion Board, Uganda Investment Authority. You can apply direct through the office of the Uganda Investment Authority. You can apply through PASID, and all these can give you an advice of the kind of people we are looking for. So that we need to team up to pair up these two businesses. We have there will be over 300 companies showcasing, looking at attracting Uganda business. But are Ugandans prepared to participate in the summit?
Okay.
There is one thing participating, but are you ready? What are you looking for?
That's right.
Or you're coming for tourism, just you want to fly to South Africa. That kind of readiness to say, I'm going there, I'm looking for the guys in mining, I'm looking for the guys in petrochemical, this is what I'm looking for. I have my coffee.
How best have you diversified the process of seeking that information, understanding where your interests as a Ugandan businessman fall and how those opportunities can be tapped? One of the things, and the reason I'm asking this question, is that the average Ugandan could miss out on something by virtue of fear. You know, they are afraid. They're like, oh, the kind of trade I'm in, I think it's not that kind of stuff. Those guys are up there. How are you helping that average businessman who could be either in Indeba, they could be in Kasangati, and sometimes as far as Mubende?
Now, Private Sector Foundation, because they're in the private sector. I am in the private sector.
That's right.
That's why I come here as a private businessman. I'm in education industry. Am I saying I'm looking for education? So, Private Sector Foundation will prepare all those guys who are going for the expo, for the summit, what we call summit preparedness.
Summit preparedness.
What are you looking for before you go? So the Endeavor guy, when he's prepared, say, you're seated before a guy of Woolworth stores, pick and pay. You're saying, Nze wa mundeba.
Yes.
Wendi wano. Bisente byange ndina. What do I take?
Yeah.
They say, my dear brother, we are selling these items. We can partner and do this. Then you have the expertise from Private Sector Foundation preparing you for the summit readiness.
All right, let's wind this up. Give us an idea of how many Ugandans, business persons, fully registered, those that are doing work that is, across borders, could be South Africa, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Namibia, and are Ugandans. We can talk about what are the numbers there. Do we have any set register for them?
Are you talking of those in South Africa?
Those in South Africa, Ugandans.
Ugandans, those in South Africa.
With registered businesses doing formal legal work.
They are not many. Majority of Ugandans, when they started traveling to South Africa, were professionals. They were selling their skills.
Yeah.
Medical doctors. Over thousands of them.
Yeah.
teachers, like some of us, where we started, teaching in schools.
That's right.
Now, form of business, Ugandans were to the low footing. I want you to understand that you're talking out of an economy, a big player.
Yeah, a huge player.
For you to be an SME, what is called a small medium enterprise in South Africa, could be a big company in Uganda. For instance, I employ about 500 people in my company. If I in Uganda, they would be a big deal. But I am a small medium enterprise.
That's right.
So, Ugandans in that category, you might find about a 10 or less than even a 10% of the Ugandan population in South Africa. Because we have over 500,000 Ugandans living in South Africa.
Okay.
And we are the largest diaspora community of Ugandans outside Uganda.
Okay, one of the pleas that should be made to the heads of state is to allow for official formalization of their stay and what they do, because sometimes that could be the reason as to why they could be doing businesses, but they're not known, and that could be hampering planning.
That's why we appeal to many Ugandans to join our forum, the Forum for Ugandan Businesses in South Africa.
That's right.
You know, when you don't tell your story, if nobody knows you, how are you going to sell?
That's right.
That's why we say the Americas, the Maldives, the Seychelles advertise themselves. They say, this is who I am. I have the waters, I have the what. So if you don't tell your story,
nobody else is going to.
Brand Uganda, a country, is going to showcase a story to South Africans that we are Uganda, this is who we are. That is what the purpose of the summit.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Philip Kakuru, for that perspective on the upcoming summit that is due to be held on the 27th of February through to the 1st of March 2023. That will do it for our business update.